update on Star Lotulelei? Didn't practice a couple times last week. Where's he at and trending in a good direction?
Yeah, I think he's trending in the right direction. We'll just see how it goes today and tomorrow.
And where's Isaiah at this point?
Isaiah. Yeah, I think again he'll be out there today. We'll see how he does, but I expect him to be full go for the game at this point.
So all the preseason predictions are in now, and everyone's got their power rankings and everything else. And you guys are top 3, 4 everywhere, Sean. How do you keep these guys from thinking too much about it, keeping an even keel, not letting their heads blow up?
Yeah, well, you gotta stay in the process of week by week season, right? So if you focus on things outside of this building, on things we can't control, and then you get your tail kicked. And so we've got to be mentally tough in our approach and focus in on our process and insulate ourselves as much as we can from all that other noise that is outside the building.
It's a little different this year than maybe last year, given what you guys accomplished a year ago, even though you didn't get to your ultimate goal. So do you change or alter your message in that sense to the players?
I think you always want to meet your team where your team is. So I recognize that and try and be aware of that. Again, though, this is such a routine, process-driven operation, in particular during the season. That's the mental shift that you have to go through to get yourself ready to go. My family's know I go home. They know what time I'm going to bed, and try and be a good husband, good dad. At the same time, they respect that I got something on my mind, and I expect the same from our team all season long.
Sean, when you talk about shielding your team from the noise, is it harder when the noise is so positive to where, just as natural as a human being, you'd want to seek that out and hear it, as opposed to when it's negative, it's easy to say, I want to shut that out. But this, like Sal said, this is almost entirely positive for you guys.
I think you go back, though, also to, again, I keep going back to the routine, to building yourself through the week to get yourself ready to go. And whether it's positive or negative, it all becomes noise and can pull away from what you're trying to accomplish. And I think you watched the golf this past weekend, those of you that golf, and Patrick Cantlay, I think his name was, he held the lead for so long, and I think that showed a lot of mental strength by him, and I think we can learn from that. We can use that as a model to, hey, no matter what's going on outside, you got to stay dialed in, you got to stay in your process and get yourself just right and ready to go.
Is anybody in the 53 out today? Not practicing?
I think Starro may be out today, or he may be limited. We'll see.
John, defensively, we've kind of talked about this a lot throughout the whole offseason, but now that you're here, your expectation for your defense, would it be fair to say you need that defense to play better as a whole than it did throughout last season?
I think, every year is a new year. We need to play better as an overall team. I need to coach better, and that's what we're out here. That's a goal, right, of every year get better, every year defensively get better, every year offensively, special teams get better. Every year I got to coach better than I did the year before. That's the right mindset. That's the growth mindset we talk about, and that's also an accountability to one another that we have to have as a good team.
I'm assuming Levi Wallace has retained his job opposite Trey. And if so, what is it about him that keeps just whatever he just doesn't sweat, show him sweating during the preseason, no matter what competition you bring in? What is it about this kid who was a walk-on in Alabama and continues to be winning this job despite no matter who you bring in?
Yeah, I think it's the person, John. I think it's really the person you're talking about. He's a special person, raised by a great family. Obviously, just has his mom now. Great woman, and continues to support him. And he's just taken that. I never met his dad when his dad was alive. But he's taken that, I'm sure, from his parents, and he's just got an incredible amount of poise about him and steadiness, if you will.
We've talked about how much it helps the defensive backs on your team going up against Cole and Diggs every day. The Steelers have a really good receiving core. How much does that translate now, kind of go, into use?
Well, yeah, I mean, it can only help that our DBs go against our guys. I'm sure their DBs feel the same way. It's a good battle competitively on our field here as you see it, and it can only make you better if you're wired the right way. And, that's an important, approach, if you will, that we have, that we just keep trying to be as competitive as we can through practice to make games very familiar for us.
Does anything in particular stand out about the Steelers receiving core?
Very talented. They've got Juju in the slot. He moves all around. They move him around. They've got speed outside with multiple guys outside 18 and 13. And then with what Claypool has done at an early point in his career, been very impressive. And now you add the tight ends with Ebron and Freiermuth to it. I mean, very, very good tight end package as well with the backs. So they're extremely talented on offense.
Last week we saw Taron with like a club on his hand. How much does that limit a defensive back in particular, and do you expect him to carry that into the game?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, again, just what you're used to, and he's going to continue to work with that today, this week, Joe, and get himself to where it's functional for him. And I think after a while it just becomes kind of, like maybe a boxer putting on the gloves. After a while, it's just there. So you go to work with it, and you're willing to and able to work around it. Yes. Yeah.
Sean, are you anticipating continuing the rotation of the guard spots in the game, or are you ready to set that as things stand now?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's good competition there, as I said last week, John, and I think we'll know a little bit more as the week goes on, and comfortable rotating if we want to rotate, but also comfortable with a little bit more continuity if we need to go that route as well. So very confident in both Ike and Cody and John.
How do you game plan for T.J. Watt should he be in the lineup?
Yeah.
Given the uncertainty of his situation.
Well, that's for them to handle that part of it. For us, we know he's an elite player. Elite player at his position, one of the best defensive players in our league, and he wreaks havoc on game plans. So you always have to know where he is.
Hey, Sean, 20 years in the league or whatever it's now for you. Your top four, maybe even top five receivers, as a group, can you maybe recall a group that potentially is that good talented-wise and what they could possibly do in your time? Have you seen a group like that along the way?
So, let me take that bait. That's what you want me to do? No, it's they're good. We hope, listen, we've got good players. Pittsburgh's got good players, and it should make for a really good game. And what people come out to the stadiums for this coming weekend, I think it'll be great for fans to be back in the stadiums across the NFL, and we expect a great environment here in Orchard Park, and a fan base that's been waiting a long time for this type of opportunity. And we expect them to be loud when we're on defense, and a little less loud when we're on offense. But we've got to put in the work this week to get them hopefully something to cheer about. But good opponent, right? Good opponent. They've got good players. We've got good players.
Did you watch any of the college games? Did you watch?
I did, yeah.
Well, I was gonna, as a follow-up, what did you think of that? Seeing the stadiums full and a lot of the emotion that the fans had, that the teams. Of course, college is a little bit of a different game. Then again, they say Orchard Park's a lot like a college atmosphere on game day.
Yeah, I mean, it was from a fan's perspective, it was fun to watch. That dynamic's different though when you're in the stadium, right? When you're doing your job, that's where that process comes in, and that mental awareness, focus, whatever you want to say it, and that's what we're here to do. That's part of our lead up to the weekend, and to doing our job at a high level is getting yourself through that process one day at a time. And but as a fan, you can kind of sit back and watch and appreciate, from a fan standpoint, being back in the stadium and everything. There's a lot of great environments in college football this past weekend.
Look at the preseason tape from Pittsburgh. What were your impressions, takeaways from seeing Najee Harris back there for them?
Yeah, really good young player, talented both in the run and pass game. Picks up protections well. Obviously he's a high pick in the draft for a reason, and I'm sure he's going to have a great career. But he looks like he's off to a great start.
What was it like actually having tape to watch this game?
A little different, I guess. There's still a lot of unknowns about their offense, right? Just because of the new coordinator, and so we're going to have a good week of practice.
For your own team, guys, going into year 2, how much did that help to have a more regular off season to see what they can do, and what did that help them do on the field?
With our players going into year two, the ones that had a off season, you mean? Is that
right?
Yeah. I mean, this is the first year for some of those guys, even through 3 years, of having a normal off season. The habits that go along with having a good, productive off season. So that's why we have our development team, our medical team, our strength and conditioning team, and they did a phenomenal job.
Sean, as you guys head into this season, you have the same core of the defensive backs together yet again. And when we spoke to Levi Wallace last week, he just said how unique it is to be a part of a core that has been together for now several seasons, and you guys have had to make an effort to actually keep them together, contract extensions, etc. Why is that so important to have that core together, and how do you think, entering another season, they're just going to get even better?
Well, I think the continuity is the key piece. Brandon did a good job making sure that was in place. But continuity doesn't win games either. So you got to put the work in. You got to make sure you're on the same page and continue to, as I think it was Sal asked earlier about, we got to continue to get better and grow. And you can never stay the same. You got to keep getting better, and that's something you got to be very intentional about every day. And I know those guys are.